Well, hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, but you can call me Pajama Grandma. In this video, we are going to talk about lifetime value and a whole bunch of other things. I am sitting here, starting my morning, sipping my coffee, and thinking about, well, first off, I brainstormed 10 solution video topics. I want to hone in and get more strategic and more targeted toward my ideal client avatar in terms of the content that I'm creating and the things that I'm producing for my audience. I've been doing sort of a shotgun approach based on the topic of growing and supersizing your business, and I find that that's still way too broad. I want to get closer to my ideal client avatar, and in order to do that, I need to know, I'm going to say her, because I would love to work with more women. I don't know why, but I've always worked with men my whole career, and I'd like to work with more women because I think women are fun and amazing, multitasking, high energy individuals that make the world a better place. And so I want to help them in any way I can to help them make their business and their life and their world a better place. My throat is very cloggy today. I think it's a change in weather. It's getting colder and colder. It's fall. Fall is here. We cannot ignore it any longer. So one of the things I was thinking about that I like to contemplate, and I don't think very many people actually consider in business or in their life in general, is the lifelong value of anything. How about, usually when we're talking about lifelong value, we're talking about the lifelong value of a customer. And you can actually, for any business, calculate that out. I don't think very many people do, so I'm not going to share the formula here because I think that's kind of a proprietary thing for me. But I try to show everybody I work with, okay, you say you need more sales and profits. You say you need more customers, but all you're doing is going after new customers all the time, and that's really important. But do you understand the lifelong value of a customer to your business? And I'll share a little story here because it really I really started emphasizing the lifelong value of a customer in my mind and solidifying it with my clients when I had an experience with my car dealer. I had bought a new car, and I'm not going to share the brand here, but it came with a little fob, you know, that's your key to start your car and everything, and it came with a spare one. Well, I never used the spare one. I threw it in my spare key cabinet, and I never lost my keys, so I never needed it. Well, one day, my regular key didn't work. So I went in the cabinet to use my spare key, and it didn't work. And I was like, well, I've never used this. Why would it not work? So I opened it up to check the battery. And not only was there not a battery in there, but there wasn't a motherboard. It was just an empty plastic shell that they had given me as my spare key. So I went to the dealer and I was getting an oil change, and I was talking to him, and I brought that in, and they basically said that I must be lying and that they check as part of their quality procedure, which, you know, tipped me over because we know how well people, as a former corporate quality executive, I know that people don't always follow the procedures, even if you have them in place and it's expectation. People don't always do what they're supposed to do, right? Do you always do what you're supposed to do? I know I don't always do what I'm supposed to do with respect to taking care of myself, much less doing a job or a process or a procedure for a company I'm working for. So they basically told me that I must be lying and that I should call corporate and see what they say. So I called corporate, and I got the same nonsense song and dance. Hey, it's after your 1-year warranty period with us. Therefore, you'll have to pay us a couple $100 to get another one of these made, which totally irritated me. Number one, because I know that they hadn't followed their own internal operating procedure. They hadn't done their job. No one had, obviously. He's like, well, they must have tested it because that's part of our procedure. And I just looked at him like, you're kidding me, right? I'm like, I'm showing you that there's no guts in this. Well, there's a little scratch mark there. I said, yeah, that's where I had to open it with a screwdriver to try to get it open to realize that there were no guts in there. It was ridiculous. And that got me to thinking about the lifelong value of a customer, because I had spent up to this point hundreds of thousands of dollars on that brand of vehicle and with that organization. Probably more like over $1 million over the years, because I'm old. I was 50 something at the time, and I had, you know, at least a dozen vehicles from this organization. So I'd spent probably closer to $1 million than anything else with this particular brand. And they basically didn't care one bit, which is fine. But it also taught me about calculating, because I calculated out what was my lifelong value to them as a brand, as a customer. And it was well over $1 million. And everyone I told about this story, none of them are going to buy that make a vehicle anymore. So how many millions of dollars did them being silly in their decisions and their lack of customer service and unprofessional and rude, what did that cost them? That cost that one company millions of dollars. And that's when it hit home to me that it's really important for us all in our businesses, when we're growing our businesses, to not only pay attention to what it costs to get a new customer, but what is the value of keeping that customer, building a relationship with them, and making sure that they're always having an excellent experience with our organization. Now, it wouldn't have taken hardly anything to save me as a customer for that brand, because it was my brand of choice for vehicles for decades. But one little thing, by treating me like a piece of crap and making me feel like I had done something wrong, which I 100% knew I hadn't, but making me feel that way and following their process or their procedure or their rules, lost them millions of dollars. Do they know? Do they care? I don't know. I did a video on it when it happened. So I don't know that they know or care at all. And I don't care, because guess what? There's a whole lot of other awesome vehicles out there that I am more than happy to drive and spend my millions of dollars on over the lifetime of my car purchases. So that was one of the reasons I just really started honing in on and getting clear on what is the lifetime value of a customer. And for each different type of business and for your unique business, you can calculate and figure that out. You can figure out what is the average person's, and I wasn't going to share this. I'm not going to share the formula for how you figure it out. It's easy, but a lot of people don't know how to do it. And it's an easy formula that you can calculate. Is it 100% accurate? Is it 100% the actual value that you'll get every time you get a new customer and you keep them for life? No, it's an estimate. It's like all statistics. It's a mathematical equation to try to figure something out and quantify it so we can make decisions based on that versus just guessing or going with our gut all the time. Now, I'm an avid believer in going with your gut when making decisions, but I also think that if we have data and information, we should use some of that too. We should use everything at our disposal to make the best decisions that we possibly can. So I started brainstorming a list of topics, again, back to solution videos that I can share with people. And I will share my how do you calculate the lifetime value of a customer on one of these 10 videos. I brainstormed 10 video topics, and one of them is the value of a customer, the lifetime value of a customer. So I'll share my formula on that, which means you have to follow me a little bit so you can actually get the exact formula. Brilliant, right? So I started thinking about, well, what are the problems that my ideal client faces? And I just brainstormed a list of problems. Then I will think of a story, like I just shared the story of a lifetime value of a customer and why I think that's important and how it illustrates that, oh my gosh, you might think that this is this couple of $100 problem and this couple $100 thing. And why would someone stop doing business with me over a couple $100 issue? But it's not the couple $100. It wasn't even the money. It's the lack of ownership for the problem and then the willingness to actually go back and solve the problem. That is an easy quality problem for that organization to solve. But instead of wanting to take responsibility for that and solving the problem, how many other people are they giving empty key fobs to? Probably thousands or tens of thousands a year. I don't know how many vehicles they sell, but just think, if you can scam tens of thousands of people or thousands of people a year for a couple of $100, why wouldn't you do it? Well, because you've got morals and ethics and values and you're a good company that cares about your customers. That's why you wouldn't do it. So the 10 topics, and I think I've got at least 12, and I'll probably come up with 100 because I like to come up with lots of topics. But does my ideal client avatar, does she have 100 problems? Probably. If she's like I was, yeah, she probably has 100 problems or more on her how do I supersize and grow this business list. I know that I always, ages ago, before I learned to not do this to myself, I had at least a 400 item to-do list. It was a running to-do list, and it was on my computer, and I would do stuff when I got to it, and I would check it off, and I always feel good about it. But guess what? There was still another 399 or 398 items on that list at any given time. It was super stressful, and it was like a program always running in the background adding stress to my life that I didn't need. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and add that as another topic of how to break down your 400 item to-do list. Let's call it overwhelm. Anybody ever get overwhelmed in their business? I have to write things down when I think of them or I forget. So now I'm up to about 14 topics. It doesn't take long. As I think and go about my day, I'll come up with more topics. So lifetime value of a customer, huge. And I think that the vast majority of people and business owners don't even think about it. How about the lifetime value of your experiences? Have you ever thought about the value of the experiences that you have in your life and the impact that they have on your life? Now, I will say most of us wreck ourselves with the value and the lifetime value that we place on our negative experiences, our negative self-talk, the things that have happened in our past that were bad in our estimation and devastating, fired from a job, dumped by your significant other, cheated on by your significant other, lost money, made a mistake, got a bad grade, failed a test, failed a course in college, whatever you can come up with, or was bullied in school, or whatever it is. It could be all kinds of things. But we take those negative emotions and those negative events of our past and we continue to relive them, sometimes for decades. I don't know that anybody's done it for a century, but for decades for sure. I can attest to that. I've had bad things happen in my past, those experiences, and I didn't even realize that they were running on a subconscious level, preventing me from doing things in my present moment or future because I was still running old tapes from the past. What's the lifetime value? What's the lifetime lost opportunity cost by letting those negative experiences impact us for minutes, years, decades? It's huge. I don't even think it's calculatable. But then there's those positive experiences that we've had in our past that we need to go back and recapture and capitalize on them. And instead of building up the fear and negative experiences, we need to exponentially grow our lifetime value of an experience by blowing up the good experiences that we've had, the experiences of love and laughter and happiness and joy and curiosity and expansion and delight, any positive emotional experience that we've had. We need to blow those up and make those huge in our life from our past and just shrink down the negative events and not let them take and steal our opportunity cost, because even events and experiences have a lifetime value and an impact on us. Maybe that's something we should calculate. What is the lifetime value of a positive experience versus a negative experience on us? Maybe that's another topic. Just think about and walk through one such experience. I like to share the story of a friend of mine in high school used to tell me every day that I was fat and ugly. And I didn't think that that had bothered me and had negatively impacted me until decades later when I realized that that tape was still playing on a subconscious level in my life every single freaking day. What was the value? What was the negative impact of that one? And I know he did it in a loving, caring way because he was one of my best friends, but his joking inadvertently had a negative impact on me for decades. We have things like that that have happened in our lives that we don't always consider and look at. And sometimes we need to just take a couple hours and actually ponder and think about what's going on in my life, what's going on in my head. How is that affecting what I'm doing, the choices I'm making, the decisions I'm making, the willingness for me to step out of my comfort zone? What are our beliefs and things like that are playing out in my life that I need to say, oh, whoa, hold the phone. That's not going to bother me anymore. That doesn't make any sense. That happened when I was 6 years old and I'm still thinking about that. Yeah, I am now 58. I think I can let go of that 42 years later and say, yeah, that 6-year-old little girl doesn't reside in me anymore. I think we can get over an experience that she had. So what are you thinking about today on this amazing new day? I'm going to be thinking about some more lifetime value of customers, experiences, and just lifetime value of lessons learned and of things that we learn and things that we do and how we grow. Go out, make it a fantastic day. I have rambled enough for this day. I will, of course, see you tomorrow with day 255. Wow, day 255 tomorrow. That's it. Jamagram out.